Throughout APJ, worldwide we see that there's CEOs are beginning to see that they need to transform. The questions are asked at the board level all the time. How are you going to be competitive? How are you going to transform? What are the risks if you don't change? Questions like that. And for CIOs, the pressure falls because it always linked to digitization is IT. So I would like you to share your thoughts around that and how you're taking this.
So when we talk digitising a company, yeah, sure, it's enabled by IT. It really is. However, when you think about truly digitising that customer experience, it has to start from the business. And the business is probably the area that you could say for many years it said, look, IT are going to do that, IT are going to do that. But really now, if you want to transform how customers experience working with a company like Telstra, we're swapping again? All right. These things should be in software. I think if you start to look how a company starts to transform the way it serves customers utilising software, it really has to be led then from the business. And that's the part that is truly transformative. Because ultimately, if you have a think back for many years now, people in IT have been building software. They have been creating infrastructure. They have been, linking up networks. So that's there. But it's that front end component about how do we take the experience a customer has today and how do we truly digitise it, and then the IT component enables it. Okay, and that's where I think probably one of the greatest challenges is, and that's the part that I think is most exciting, is how do you lift it up, the experience that customers get, and then digitise is about that experience that customers receive.
Yeah, excellent. We've done a number of projects at Pivotal Labs with Telstra, and they all come under your department. So would you like to share some of those successes and what has that done to the teams that has gone through the project, and how that relates to your customer experience?
Okay. Look, I'll talk about this. We've done a few. We've done quite a few, and there's a few in motion at the moment. But I'll speak about one in particular. It may not sound like a lot, but it's this thing called service status page. And when a customer has something wrong, it might be their home phone or a mobile, just to be able to say, look, instead of ringing up and say I've got a problem, the ability to online, on their smartphone, on their iPad, to say, look, is there a problem in my area, or is there a problem with my service? That's always a challenge, particularly when you're running mobile environments, fixed environments, internet environments, data environments, and media environments. And so we've had this thing called service status page for many years, but it was never granular enough to really show a customer, look, this is what's impacting me. And what we did with Pivotal was had the business owner come in, the owner of that particular customer experience come in. We had our IT people come in, we had some Pivotal people come in, and we worked together over a period of time to really recreate what is now called our service status page, and it's a much better experience. A customer now can go on and say, yeah, I've got a problem, here it is. And that has a big impact. It has a big impact to our call centres, because people don't have to ring in now and find out what's going on. It also gives the customer assurance that, yes, we know about it, and this is roughly when it's going to come back to service. So that's just changed that experience. We've taken, an outage is never good. A customer has an outage is never good. But at least now we're saying, yes, we have an event, this is what it looks like, and this is when it's coming back.
Oh, great. A lot of those projects were done in this office. And would you like to share with the team your thoughts around bringing Pivotal Labs inside of Telstra, what that entails?
Look, and having, here we brought people in here, we sat down with some of the Pivotal team, and over a period of many months, they worked together on the experience you want to deliver, the journey that we're taking it on, what we've got to do, and then develop it. And what that's done for us is particularly with that team or one or two teams, is got them working together in a very collaborative manner. And so we didn't distinguish then who was Pivotal, who was IT, who was business, who was product owner, whatever it was. We didn't distinguish. It was a team working together. And the benefit too was they were taught a methodology and a process to get the outcome, which is really important, because writing code is not the hard part, but the process to get the outcome for the customer is the hard part. And so the writing the code, then we learned how to use the the platform a little bit better, the Cloud Foundry platform. And I think all of it together was like, you know, process, technology, all comes together to get the right outcome for a customer.
Okay. How about the role of, would you like to just explain a bit more about the Cloud Foundry, pivotal Cloud Foundry platform that you've used for about a year now, the experience you've had?
Look, the platform is important. I think Andy spoke about it. I think maybe Rob spoke about, you know, the technology and process. And the technology also dictates your process. So we've got to remember that, I mean, years ago people say, look, we worry about the process, then we build the technology. But I actually see in my experience that more and more so, their technology is starting to impact the process more so. And we see that with automation technologies, and we see that with some of these cloud-based services that, you know, even we use for CRM and that. It's actually starting to dictate the process. And when it comes to something like Cloud Foundry, there's a methodology to get the best out of the technology. So therefore, this is the process you take. And what's been good about that is it's automated, it's you know, it's tested, it's proven, it's got better. And so when we develop software now, utilising the right process on the cloud platform, it means that it's just much more efficient and it's quicker and all those other benefits that come with something that's a little bit smarter. And so, you know, I think just mention to the people here that our Cloud Foundry platform is our main software delivery platform. It's where we're building a lot of our digital assets, and it enables us to build it quickly and then continually turn it over in the sense of change, make it better, change, make it better. And I think that's really powerful for us as an organisation.
Andy talked about the 100 high-performance software teams, and you talked about 200 high-performance teams. Can you share a bit about what is that?
Look, I know we use different numbers, and I'm even with Andy, I had a chat with Andy a few days ago, and I said, look, ultimately in a couple of years I'll have 400 teams. Okay, there'll be 400. But I'm focused on 200 on our strategic assets. And this is the way we're working this. So we'll have 400 teams, and we have a lot of applications that currently older applications, legacy environment applications, that we're moving to cloud environments. But, you know, do I want to apply, you know, the best level of agile methodologies to those? Probably not. Doesn't make good business sense, because in 5 years we'll retire those. But when we're talking about creating, and there's about 150 teams on that we're building now, and we'll have that in the next year or two. So we actually start to create a real DevOps environment, but at a lower maturity level. And that's really important to understand, because I don't need to do those legacy applications running them really schmick, really fast all the time. It doesn't need it. They're going to be they'll be retiring in 5 years. But on the digital assets today, the new digital assets we're creating, so we write the software on the Cloud Foundry platforms, we utilise things like Salesforce and ServiceNow and all those other great cloud-based services. Those ones there are our critical assets. And we'll have 200, maybe 250 teams in the next 2 years operating on on the key strategic assets that we're going to keep. But they'll be operating at quite a high maturity level, because that's where you want the innovation, the movement, the turnover. You know, these are the things you want to do, because it serves customers and it creates that differentiation between how we serve customers and how our competitors serve customers. So that's why we talk 200, and then I've got another 200 on the side that will do the legacy environments, because we'll have legacy. I'll just, you know, in a scale of size of Telstra, any big company, you just can't turn off legacy applications overnight and say, let's move them to new. You just can't. Yeah. I mean, it's never going to work, and you're just going to kill the business. So there's a methodology to say, build new and transform across. Okay? And that's why it's a tricky environment. It's not about building one new asset. We're talking, you know, 4,000 people operating new assets, older assets.
I want to touch on Silicon Valley state of mind. I mean, that's our mantra at Pivotal. I went to school, as I said, went to school in Australia. In the days, Australia was a powerhouse in software. A lot of software in the Asia was sold by Australian companies from out of here. And they kind of vaporized after a while, because the market changed, where the economies of scale doesn't allow Australian companies to compete with American companies and European companies with a lot bigger sales force assets. But that's changed now. So other than within Telstra, if getting a team, you've seen how the state, Silicon Valley state of mind can be transposed to your team. How do you see it for Australia?
Yeah. So I'll touch on the skills. It's an interesting one. The reality is, let's put some reality in this. We don't have the amount of scale here in Australia that we need, right? That's just reality. So, what our endeavour has been is we utilise the globe to get our outcomes. And then what we do is we utilise the technology to bring those teams together, or people together. And so, if I needed 5 teams, I'd put them all here. Not here in this lab, I'd put them in Australia. But when you're talking the amount we need and the skills we need and the learnings that really need to come in with a lot of these new innovations, we use the globe. And so we've got presence in many places, and we're utilising, people here in Australia, we're utilising people in India, we're utilising skills in a few other places that I've got on my radar at the moment. So it's just using the globe and using the skills, and obviously there's a cost issue as well. The reality is, you pay someone here, you pay someone somewhere else. There's a business impact, so you have to consider that. So the way I look at it is use our IP, our knowledge, some of our real deep thinking about strategy and what we're going to do, and maybe we bring that closer to home. And then we utilise sort of skills of certain types of things around the world, and we blend it up. And then we have the technology, the collaboration tools, and the technologies that help us collaborate anywhere in the world.
Would you have some words of wisdom for the customers that we are trying to go after?
You come to the wrong person for wisdom.
Based on your experience, because everybody is keen to know.
So I think with when we come talk about digital assets, creating digital assets for organisations, to me, it's less about the technology but more about how you get there. And we talk about transforming, and I'll tell you, we'll be here in 3 years' time and we would have gone from A to B, and someone's going to say we need to transform. And this is going to be continuous because everyone's learning, things are new. But just to me, the hardest part, and this is my key learning, and in many roles I've had in Telstra, and this one here is one of those challenging roles as well, is work is a couple of things. Work consistently, never give in on this. Okay, you've got to push, you've got to get it. I promise you, every day you'll have a barrier because you're trying to change the way you operate. And we're not talking about how people sit in a room and write code. That's one aspect of it. We're talking about how you create that customer journey, that real experience that customers want to get. That's important.
Really excellent. You touch on a point which I think resonates in every organisation that's undergoing digital transformation, and that is you try to drive Agile, which is small, quick, fail fast, and innovate on that. But it is touching the 2 decades old processes around procurement, which is still waterfall, and HR, which is financing, which is protocol. So I think what you mentioned is that as a CIO, keep pushing the envelope, eventually you'll get people across. Is there a better way that you would recommend for companies that are just starting out to shortcut them?
Look, ultimately, you think of, I've never seen it. Okay, I've never seen it. You do need the CEO support, and Andy's right behind this. You need the support. And so you need the CEO, obviously the C team behind it, really critical. Otherwise it's not going to go anywhere. But then it's the next layer or two that it's just learning, it's just people understanding. A lot of people want to block it, they go, yeah, this is great. When you talk about Agile, they go, this is great. Yeah, we've got to do this, it's obvious. The world is doing it, we've got to do it. But what does that really mean? But any organisation here, the large organisations who run sort of the waterfall and trying to do Agile, you will run both methodologies. You will. You can't shift overnight and say we're all Agile. I don't care who says it. That's just you can't do it because there are a lot of things that don't make sense today to run under an Agile methodology, but there are other things that are. So the key, as I said to you, is it's the communications, it's the working along, it's giving the wins, and it's about creating that momentum. because once you've got the momentum, but we're running two methods. You know, I envision, I would say in 2020, we'll have 80% of our organisation, 70-80% running agile software. I'm talking about the software outcomes, and probably about 20 or 30 running waterfall. And that's okay. When I'm upgrading massive billing systems and those sort of things, they're not an agile methodology of creating an improvement to a billing system. So that has to be run under a very strict, you know, I'm sure, by the way, I don't know if Apple are here, but I'm sure, or that company with an A, I'm sure that when they do their iOS upgrade, I'm sure it has real tight controls around the software development around that. I'm sure it has. And we got that, and we have to do that. And it's as I said, it's a transform to a new environment, and it's a mixture of old environments with new. Because our business today runs on old environments and new. You can't just shut one down. It doesn't make good sense. So, and it's that, and it's hard. It's that movement from old to new. So, as I said to you, just never give in on this. So you've got to get the people behind you, CEO behind you, and then you just keep going.
Now I can see why you are on the future list, you know, of the top 20 personalities that's shaping the industry. I can see that, the passion.
Yeah, I think that article was quite interesting because it was actually some work we did in the power world a couple of years ago, which was actually quite transformative then. But I'm not sure it's, you know, I've got a team behind me in the IT group, and then we've got a team of individuals across the business that are really passionate about this. And I think that's the other thing that maybe is, I'm not transforming the company. We've got the few in each of the BUs and the IT team that are just passionate about really doing this in a much more customer-friendly way, much more efficient way, much more productive way, and really getting that front-end asset so it digitises how customers interface with Telstra. And it's like, I think we mentioned the service status page, but we worked here, I think recently, on a thing called digital self-care. And it's for our ADSL customers who traditionally you'd have to ring up, what's wrong with my service, and then the operator would do a test and all that. But now it's all in the front end. A customer can do that themselves, and they can diagnose their own issue. And that stops, you know, an immense amount of calls to our front of house. And nobody likes to ring a front of house and sit there for 20 minutes. Nobody. Even with the music they play these days. But I think when you've got the asset that sits there, which we built with Pivotal, the asset that sits there, and you can work now and you can say, that's the issue I got, and this is what I need to do, that's a different experience for customer. It's a much more digital way of experiencing. But it's an expectation that's being set. So we didn't set the expectation. The expectation is that everything, like I think Andy mentioned, he might have mentioned earlier about Uber, about what Google do, everybody, the expectation on how we serve customers has lifted. And so our job is to lift with it. And that's what we talk about, digitising our customers' experience.
That's awesome. I think we have time maybe for 2 questions from the floor. Let's do that.
And while you're thinking of questions to ask, I just want to also call out, John mentioned that service status page initiative. The team that was working on that was actually just awarded with the CEO's Award for Excellence, having worked in this way, and it's posted on LinkedIn. So it's great to see that it's recognised for transforming Telstra from a business standpoint, but enabled by John's team. So I appreciate that. But please, questions.
Question?
Hello, my name is Andrew. I work in consumer and small business. So the question about that transforming how we build software and innovation, that obviously requires best people, right? Best engineers doing the great software, working with functional teams. So you touched base a little bit about the talent, but still, how you talk about how you retain people. How do you plan to attract the best?
Yeah. Okay. Can I have that? Okay. There's a couple of ways you can do that, and one is the excitement breeds people to come in. You know, when people hear about the great things that are happening, or it is an exciting world, and that talent comes in. The other thing that I know we talk about getting the best in the industry. I just want to speak about that. Yes, you do want to get the best you can, but you also want to develop people to be the best they can. And so there's a lot more emphasis. And I'll come to your point in a minute, but the work we're doing right now is we've employed coaches Okay? They came into our environment with even Pivotal, you know, that because it's sort of like we're tackling this in many ways. And so Pivotal have come in and they've taught our people how to be world class. And then we've employed other coaches in other areas to lift our people to be world class. So it's about developing talent to be great. That's important, because I'd love to employ the best, but I think the Silicon Valley people have taken some of those. So we're only joking. But I think that, but the other way is to attract talent is a couple of things. So we put a lot more focus now on telling the world what we're doing. Because once you're telling people what you're doing and what you're achieving, people get excited about it. So that's one thing. We also make sure that our leaders, so my team, are well connected into the industry. And that's important, because I've seen some people we've attracted that are really top quality, really good. And I'm going, where do these people come from? And it's only because they know my leaders, my managers. And we want to create an environment that my management team has an environment that it's an exciting place to come to work. By the way, it's hard. And let me tell you, every day we're blocked with something. I've got to tell you, every day. So, you know, some people come in and go, what a mess, all the politics, all the bureaucracy, all this paperwork, drives me bonkers. Well, it does. But we've got to make the place exciting so we give people the opportunity to create great things. And that happens look, and you know, you come into our team in Telstra and you'll say, this is crazy, why are people doing it this way? But it's about allowing our people to use their mind to do excellent things. And I think the attraction of talent comes more so from what people hear and the contacts that we have into the industry, rather than us sending out an advert about wanting software people or leaders. And so that's where it is. A lot more of the talent comes from who we know, and the stories that we tell about how good it is to work and the things we're doing.
You also consider kitchen ping pong tables?
No. Yeah, by the way, I heard something about this coffee machine here last night. Where is it? The 10,000 cup of coffee machine or grinder? That's really important. We don't actually have really good coffee machines in our building. They're actually atrocious. But we don't have ping pong tables either. But I think we're creating agile places. And by the way, we're creating agile centres around the world. Even a couple in Melbourne we're building at the moment, which are a little bit more like this, a bit more conducive to a much more exciting workplace. Where is that machine, by the way? I heard about it. 10,000. There's a machine here that's done in 18 months, 10,000 grinds, right? Okay. Like here. Here we go.
Thanks. Susanna Wood, CBA. I just wondered if you could talk a little to, as you're delivering all of these new digital assets, whether to internal users or external clients, how you're helping drive the adoption of those digital assets. So how you're helping, working with clients and users to change culture, to assist in the adoption of the new ways of engaging and assets that you're creating.
Right. Okay. Right. I'll just clarify. So you're saying, just on that, you're saying how is it working with customers and clients?
How do you encourage them to adopt and really use what it is you're delivering?
Yeah. Oh, the front end, the part where we sit up. Maybe just my clarity on this one at the moment. I'm just going to get this clear. So the mechanism is that everything built at the moment under a proper agile method is that front end, get the input from the clients or the customers, whatever we do. And it could be for an enterprise, or it could be for mass market. That's sort of what we build. And when I say mass market, I talk maybe about like a mobile customer, or it could be an enterprise to help them serve in their cloud environment. But the trick in any of that is the process up front, and is to get that real input into what we're going to build. And then when you build it, and the process is you build it, and then you test it with the customer or the client, and then you change it if need be. And then you constantly have this change to meet the needs of the client or the customer. And it's tricky because there are different clients with different expectations and customers, but that constant feedback and the ability, and this is why the platform itself and the methodology itself is powerful, because if things need to be tweaked, let's say you deliver it with a yellow page with purple polka dots, and then you say, well, that's not working for the customers come back and said, this isn't good, and bring them in, and then you change it to green with blue polka dots, then you can do that. The ability to do that quickly is the trick. Traditional methods mean you could do it, it'd take you 12 months to get there, you launch it, and then it's not working, so now another 12 months to redo it. That's traditional. But now it's like we're talking weeks, change it. You know, customer feedback, change it. And so you're responding to the needs of whoever very quickly. And that is about process and platform on top of it. So hopefully that's answered the question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, is that it?
Thank you, John. It's been an enjoyable conversation. And
No, thank you. Okay. No, thank you very much. It's as I said, we're working together now for a while, and I think as we continue to grow our maturity level and work with people who will help us get there, I think we'll just see many more great things come out.
yeah, this is good. Definitely an awesome journey we're having together, and bringing that know-how plus the things that we learned together into the Australian market at large. Thank you.
Thank you.